Hello, everybody. I hope you are all staying safe. This is our fourth week of quarantine. This is our fifth Wednesday where we've come together and put a video together. This is our fourth study on the Strong series. We've been studying how to remain strong and how to have courage in difficult times. We've looked at a number of examples in the book of Joshua. We've looked at Rahab, we've looked at Jericho, and we have looked at the Israelites as a whole group of people.
Right. And today we're actually going to wrap up this study. This is going to be the last one on the idea of being strong. And we're going to talk primarily about how to finish strong. You know, because it's easy to say, to start out strong at something and be excited and be enthusiastic, but man, sometimes as you go along, as things drag out, it gets harder and harder to be strong. And sometimes we need to be reminded that it takes perseverance to finish the job, to finish the task at hand, to finish the race, so to speak. And there's obstacles that come along, and it's not always going to be easy to actually finish what you start. Oh, what was I thinking? I've made myself too much to eat. How am I ever going to finish this?
This movie is never going to end.
Bobby, why haven't you painted your part of the wall yet?
You're making me paint too much.
Okay, I want the blue ones. What happened? Okay, the yellow ones. They're all connected. What is going on? Come on. I want those. Nothing is working. This game is too hard. It must be for kids. Ugh! Bobby, you're supposed to be finished with your homework before you work on your phone.
Wait, she gave me like 6 problems. She didn't even teach us how to do them.
Oh, this book is too long. What is it? It's like 74 pages. I don't think I'm ever going to get through this.
Oh, I locked my keys in the house again. I'll walk to work, I guess. Those are some pretty absurd examples, and I hope that you haven't felt any of those during this time of quarantine. But persevering to the end is very important. Sometimes you have a goal, and it's a difficult goal, but you want to get to the end, and you've got to persevere.
Right.
2 Timothy 4:7, the Apostle Paul is nearing the end of his life, and he's able to look back and reflect and say, I've fought the good fight, I've finished the race, I've kept the faith. In order to say that, he's had to persevere through a lot, from turning his life around, from killing Christians to being one of the greatest missionaries of all time. He has had to persevere through a lot.
That's right. That's right. And we want to be able to get to the same point in our lives. We want to be able to look back at a time in our life or all of our life and say with confidence that we have remained faithful, that we have remained strong through it all and all the way through to the end. And sometimes the end may just be something like a particular period of life that was difficult, kind of like what we're dealing with right now. It's not easy to deal with all that we're dealing with in this day and time, but we can persevere through to the end of it. But we also want to be able, at the end of our lives, like the Apostle Paul, to be able to look back and say, I have finished the race. I've kept the faith through it all. But today we're going to continue to look in the book of Joshua, and we're going to be looking at Joshua chapter 13. And in the first verse of Joshua 13, we find out that Joshua has aged a good bit over time, and God has a message for him. But I want you to notice what it says here in the first verse. It says, "You are old and advanced in years, and there remains yet very much land to possess."
So there's still work to be done. Joshua and the Israelites have made it into the promised land, and after a lot of hard work, but there's still more hard work to come.
That's right.
The next few verses talk about the different parts of Canaan that had yet to be conquered, but listen to what God says in verse 6. "I myself will drive them out from before the people of Israel. Only allot the land to Israel for an inheritance as I have commanded you."
However, what we find out as we keep reading in the book of Joshua and the book of Judges, and as we keep reading throughout Israel's history, we find out that they didn't really do the job. They didn't finish the job. God had told them that they needed to drive out these nations, to get rid of them, and they didn't do it. And as a result, it was a pretty big problem for the people of Israel, especially spiritually, because they began to take on some of those idolatrous practices that the nations around them were a part of. And the challenge then for us is to not make the same mistake that Israel made. Don't fall into the same trap that they fell into.
Right. We need to remain faithful all the way to the end, which is easier said than done. How can we persevere? When we get going and the tough gets going, we want to stop.
Right.
Again, let's look at God's message to Israel when he's telling Joshua that the job isn't finished. "I myself will drive them out from before the people of Israel."
Right, and that's the thing that we need to be sure we hear. God doesn't give Israel this task and say, "Have fun, good luck." He says, "I'm going to be there with you." In fact, the message to me sounds like he's saying, I'm going to be out front. I'm going to be leading the charge as you go and conquer these other nations. And God's promise to Israel is that he is going to be with them as they finish the job.
And today we too can know that God is going to be with us till the end. He never puts an expectation on us that we can't complete.
Right.
And we can trust that, like Israel, God's going to be with us up until the very end. And that includes remaining faithful and strong in times just like this.
Yes, exactly. And so we want to close this evening with one more passage, and it's from Philippians chapter 3. And the Apostle Paul, once again, is writing, and he says, "Forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus." We really want to finish strong by pressing forward, by pressing on toward that ultimate goal. And we know that this is challenging times for all of us. We know that this is not easy. But remember to persevere. Remember to press on using the strength that God provides you. And I think that we can do that. And I hope that this message has been something that you can use, especially in some difficult times. We hope to see you soon, and we hope that you're doing well, and we will talk to you soon. So long.